Well, that'll be the day. This is WCLS DC Radio, and this is my new hot disc of the week, the Crickets and their first record, That'll Be the Day.
Yes, sir, Buddy, and the boys are really doing it down there in Clovis.
This is Guy King of WWOL in New York City, and you people know I'm mad for the new sound of the Crickets.
Everybody is talking about our very own Buddy Holly.
The Crickets are going all the way.
You're going to hear it again and again and again until you go out there and make it number one.
Number one.
The one, the only, Mr. Buddy Holly!
My love, all of my kisses, you don't know what you've been the message of boy, oh boy. When you would be oh boy, oh boy, the world will see that you were meant for me. All my life I've been waiting, and there'll be no hesitation, oh boy, oh boy. When you would be oh boy, oh boy, the world will see that you were meant for me.
I love Buddy Holly, the way he interprets music. I like the way he writes music. It's fun music. It's challenging to do. There's part of it with just the three of us. Filling a big place with just a three-piece band is kind of a kick. You're becoming a rock star. Most of the people who really knew him well seemed to describe him as somebody who was very driven. His brother said he seemed like he knew he had a short amount of time to get as much done as he could. So it seemed like once he knew what his calling was, he was very single-minded and focused on it.
Well, that'll be the day when you say goodbye, yes, that'll be the day when you make me cry, you say you're gonna be. I know it's a lie, that'll be the day when I die.
There's kind of an interesting story with how That'll Be the Day came to be written. They saw a John Wayne movie called The Searchers, and John Wayne's catchphrase all through that movie is, "That'll be the day." And Buddy said to Jerry the day after they saw it, they'd been mimicking it and playing John Wayne all day, and then Buddy said, well, we should try to write a song. And Jerry said, "That'll be the day." And Buddy said, yeah, that's good, let's go from there. To me, what sets apart Buddy Holly's music is how authentic it is.
You look at the people who followed him that took to that sort of thing. Paul McCartney and his work with the Beatles was heavily influenced by Buddy Holly and the Crickets. In fact, you said something like the Beatles got their name idea from the Crickets.
Yeah, when they were the Quarrymen or whatever.
Quarrymen, yeah, that's how they
were
started.
the Quarrymen at first, and they wanted something that sounded like Buddy Holly.
Yeah,
or the
so
Crickets,
Beatles,
I guess.
Crickets.
I'm gonna tell you how it's gonna be. You're gonna give it to me. I'm gonna love you night and day. You know my love will not fade away. You know my love will not fade away.
Not Fade Away is probably the most fun to do, so I'd have a hard time picking one. That one's got a nice Bodidden backbeat to it.
Right now I'm thinking about a Cadillac. I try to show it, you try to be bad. Your life for me has got to be real. For it alone is how I feel. Love the feeling I fade away.
They were, if not the first white act, they were definitely one of the first white acts at the Apollo. They'd sort of been through it already because they'd just come from Howard University in Washington, D.C., and that was all black. they'd spent a week down there, or a few days anyway. At first, that was very jarring for him. So again, it's sort of like taking two occurrences and putting them into one.
Sweet love, sweet love, sweet love, sweet do I did it, do I did it now, do I did it, do I did it now, do I did it.
By most accounts, the musicians at the Apollo were very receptive. They enjoyed having him. For him, I guess there was some fat lady in a hat that was down front and center when they first came out and stood up and said, "You better be good." Songs always seem to be from a very genuine kind of point of view. He talks a lot of times about that need that teenagers have to be loved. Sometimes it's desperate, sometimes it's almost defensive, but he's still hopeful. So he's not like just shirking it off or being too fearful. He is fearful, which makes him excited. His songs are always from an excited point of view. But he's also hopeful.
Every day it's getting closer, going faster than a roller coaster. Love like yours will sure come my way. Hey.
I think Every Day is a beautiful song. I just like the way it identifies with that teenage angst. You can sense the desperation of this young person wanting to be loved. But he's saying it will happen someday. Someday you will come true.
Every day seems a little longer. Every way love's a little stronger. Come what may, do you ever long for true love from me? Every day it's getting closer, going faster than a roller coaster. Love like yours will sure come my way. Hey. Love like yours will sure come my way.
In the concert, the encores, that's sort of the culmination of the whole thing. The whole last 15 minutes or so is the recreation of his concert in Clear Lake, Iowa.
Gentle and lace and a pretty face and a ponytail and down, a wiggle and a walk and a giggle and a talk. Oh, it makes the world go round.
That whole thing is a real kick because you've got a big band, a large band of musicians behind you playing. You've got dancers and singers.
Oh, baby, that's what I like.
It's just a big production, and you're in a big stage, and the audience is usually really responsive to it. It's just a real kick. So familiar with Buddy Holly, who came just to see the show, most of them seemed very surprised at how many Buddy Holly songs they knew. They had no idea that he was so much a part of their sort of ambient world.
done something. You know?
I know, I like that
Silly,
feeling
but-
of taking people down their own memory lane. I mean, I don't know how many people have come up to me and said that.
Baby, I'll have you. Baby, you be true. Baby, I'll have you for me.
His interpretations of songs are very true. And if you try to do that as true as he does, then you've done most of your work.
Sometimes we'll sigh, sometimes we'll cry, and we'll know why just you and I know true love waits.
The fact that he was there, he did those things, he really existed, gives it, for me, a whole different kind of tack.
Well, a little thing you said do makes me wanna be with you. Babe, oh, it's a crazy feeling, and I know got the feeling when you say I love you. Hurry on. Well, the way you dance and hold me tight, the way you kiss and sugar night. Babe, oh, it's a crazy feeling, and I know got the feeling when you say.
It was really out there. It really happened.
I'm gonna tell you how it's gonna be. You're gonna give your love to me. I'm gonna love you night and day. You know the love, but